Hello, good people, and welcome to Hillbilly Cat History, where today we look at 1956 Riding Free, and we do some defending of Donna Presley. And we're going to do that as soon as we come back from this song, which is The Line Between.
I hear the static rising like a storm behind your breath. Every truth you're trying to name is shaking what we had left. You say the world's gone sideways, and I can feel the tilt begin. Two voices on a wire, and the ground won't stay still again. I'm not calling you a liar, I'm just trying to understand how the stories got so twisted between the heart and the helping hand. There's a line between us trembling, but I'm holding while I can. In a world that's spinning crazy, I'm still reaching for my friend. If the truth is breaking open, let it break us into light. Two hearts on different journeys, still trying to make it right. We built a house of loyalty, but the floorboards start to groan. Every secret that we carried now demands to be known. Say you're still my brother, but the silence cuts like steel. I'm standing in the doorway trying to tell you what I feel. I'm not trying to accuse you, I'm just naming what I see. All the shadows in the hallway where our trust used to be. There's a line between us trembling, but I'm holding while I can. In a world that's spinning crazy, I'm still reaching for my friend. If the truth is breaking open, let it break us into light. Two hearts on different journeys, still trying to make it right. I don't want to lose you, but I can't pretend I'm blind. There's a storm inside your story, and a storm inside of mine. If we meet again in mercy, let the past fall where it may. I'll be standing in the open if you choose to walk this way. There's a line between us trembling, but I'm holding while I can. In a world that's spinning crazy, I'm still reaching for my friend. If the truth is breaking open, let it break us into light. Two hearts on different journeys, still trying to make it right. Yeah, the line between us trembling, but I'm holding through the night.
Thank you for gathering here at Hillbilly Cat History, where we remember together and listen for the echoes. And today we're going to hear echoes out of 1956, but we're going to start once again in 1997. Hi, Pat. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. And yesterday, when we looked at what's on the bookshelf, we looked at this book, Elvis Precious Memories. And this is the book that has Donna Presley early and Edie Hand and Lynn Edge on the front. It's their names, they were the authors. And this is the book that Donna says no longer represents her accurately. But we're going to slide past that particular argument today because others say that it has to stick with her forever. Whatever she wrote in this book. And in the last episode, I discussed how Len Edge is actually the person that wrote the book in terms of putting words on paper. And that there's possibly communication errors, and that Donna and Edie and Lynn, well, they're all fine people. They're all good people. Hi, Jen. Thank you for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. And that I don't even know what the actual issue is that Donna doesn't like about this, and I don't see it clearly displayed in anything that's said about her, so I can't really make any comments on it. However, there's another piece to this, that it's been attached to a trading card that has hair. Supposedly it's Elvis's hair. Apparently, Donna gave away, I guess for free, this hair card with these books. At least according to one single person on the internet a while ago, a long time ago. At least according to somebody who's saying that today. So it's been filtered through a lot of hands, but let's take a look and see if we can't dig into this and figure out what's going on with the hair and the card and the book. Probably what we should understand first is what we looked at yesterday, is that this book, well, it was published in 1997. Dates are important when you look at things. 1997 is an important date for this book. That's the year that any money that went into marketing this book would have happened. Nobody tried to market this book after 1997. It may have still been being sold on book tables at conventions or at tables where Donna was at, but there was no marketing push because the publishing was over for this book. That's how the publishing industry works. They only care about stuff that's published that year. And Gunn says there's no way it could be Elvis's hair. I think that's what the people who are attacking Donna are hoping that you will believe. That you will immediately jump to that conclusion. I mean, who wouldn't? Seems reasonable. Here is one of these cards. Now, this isn't the card that was shown, because that particular card is 777, I think. If anybody happens to know the channel that put the post up, you can go check that. I can't remember exactly, but it's a lower number than this card. And this one is 1127 of 5,000. So the claim is that Donna gave away 5,000 of these cards, which means she sold 5,000 of that copy of that book. But not in 1997, because we can see there's a date at the bottom of the card. It may be hard for you to read, but it says 2004, Forever Treasures. All rights reserved. And above it, it says limited edition 1127 of 5,000. Now there's a picture of Elvis on this card, and if you look very closely, right above the number 5,000, there's a circle, and there's a line in it. That's the hair. So some people would say that there's 5,000 strands of hair being sold, but they would not be correct. There are 5,000 samples of hair being sold. The strands have been cut into very small pieces and then put onto these cards. So how many strands does this represent? Less than 5,000. Now, if you look at the top, it says Elvis hair card, and it says 2006 Forever Treasures limited edition. And then it's got a big GA on it. Well, what's up with this GA thing? Here's another one. This is 1175. This one also says 2006 Forever Treasures limited edition. I don't really know why it says 2006, but something was done with these cards after 2004 is what it appears. I don't know if that's when they were put into these plastic sleeves. And then these items from GA were put into the sleeve at the top. Now, GA is some kind of grading company, and it no longer exists. It went out of business in 2009. It was based in California. There's a similar named company now, but it's not the same company. The similar named company has a really bad reputation of verifying people's autographs that are fake. But this isn't an autograph, and nobody was verifying if the hair was real. What they're verifying is the card is real. It was printed in 2004, and it's 1175 of this set of 5,000. And Gunn says that she loves Elvis, but wouldn't buy his hair and doesn't think Elvis would like me to. Well, that's an interesting point, and that's probably true. He probably wouldn't like it, but I don't know. We have to get all the way through this story, and we'll find out. Well, we won't find out, but you'll be able to make a better decision. Here's 1419. And it's also got this 2006 thing at the top. Now, it seems odd to me that something's going on in 2006 if these cards were given away in 2004, but maybe they were. I don't know. I mean, it costs something to print the cards, though, right? I don't feel like they're free. The books themselves, if Donna was giving them away, well, that means that books were selling for $24.95 according to the jacket. I think that means that Donna's price had to be at least $7 to $10 on each book. We noted that there was a publisher involved. So if Donna bought 10,000 copies of the book, which will be twice this 5,000 number, and let's say she had 5,000 left, but the original $10,000 investment would have been $70,000 to $100,000. Now, the person that's claiming all this, they've shown that there's some kind of interaction between somebody in 2003 who claims that they bought the book and the card was in it. Well, that doesn't seem possible because the card has a 2004 date on it. But the claim is that the years are close enough we can let it pass. Okay, let's let it pass. I mean, I don't think they're close enough to let it pass, but let's say it's passed. So that brings us to hold on just a second, guys. I hear something in the background. Not sure what that was, but let's move forward here. So if this card was given away in 2003, then I guess if she sold 5,000 of these books in 2003, then I guess all 5,000 went out. But that would have increased the cost of the book, right? Like you couldn't have still sold the book for $25 and made any money with what you had in it. It just doesn't make any business sense. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. And Linda says that she has read this book and that it's a very nice read. Yeah, I think so too. Here's 2132 of the same card. Now, part of what this person says is that, well, you know, like how could we tell if this card was given away with the book or not? I mean, I guess we could ask Donna and she could tell us if one of us wanted to ask her. But at the same time, this person has said that they do not believe that Donna Presley can speak for the Presleys because they did a thorough search of their own digital collection of Elvis books and her name only shows up a few times. And so I guess if your name only shows up a few times in the books, then you're not close to Elvis, or Elvis didn't love you, or everything you say is untrue about what happened between you and Elvis in your relationship. I mean, I guess so. That's the claim that's being made. Now, I would have a lot of questions about that weren't answered about that claim, like how many books were in this digital collection? I mean, let's say that it's 100 books. Did you know there's over 500 books about Elvis that are published? And that if we included all 500, then the Memphis Mafia themselves, all of their names would virtually disappear because all the other books aren't about them. So sample size of the books, that would probably be important to know. And then what terms were used in the search? Was it Donna Presley? Was it Donna Early? We know she's changed her name a few times. Was it just Donna? How exhaustive was this search? We don't know. How many times did her name appear compared to other family members' names? I mean, I don't think Minnie Mae shows up a lot in the books either, but she lived there every single day. Now, Delta shows up sometimes, but that brings up another interesting point. Which family members that are mentioned in a book are there to illustrate what kind and beautiful people that the Presleys were? And who's there to show a nasty story about them? Let's take Marty Lacker, for instance, in the book that he wrote. Delta shows up a number of times in his book. In none of them is she a person that you'd really want to know. Now, is that who Delta was? Well, that's who Marty, who was a difficult person to get along with, that's how he felt Delta was. Hi, Tori. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. And Tori's mentioning that Larry Geller has a new book out called Unchained Melody. Well, yes, he does. So, if your name appears in a book, is that a good thing if you're a member of the family? I mean, I don't know. I don't think the Memphis Mafia normally wrote about members of the Presley family or the Smiths, unless they wanted to say something derogatory about them in most cases. Almost every time Vernon is mentioned, it's derogatory. Now, we know that Vernon loved Elvis and that Elvis loved Vernon, but that is not what's reflected in most books. Even when they say something nice about Vernon, it's usually to soften something terrible they just said about him. That's one of Donna's issues with the books, is they don't reflect the Presley family correctly. And what's being said is, well, when I looked at those books, they show that you're not reflected. Well, that's what she just said, right? But let's move on from that point. Here's another one of these. This one actually says 2004 at the top. Elvis Presley, Authentic Hair, and this one's a perfect 10. 3,677 out of 5,000. And this one's GAI, so they've changed their logo a little bit between apparently 2004 and 2006. Now, personally, I think all of the cards, and I have no idea, okay? I'm speculating on this part. And Elizabeth says that she knows that I'm sad about Vernon too, and yes, we do know that he loved Elvis. Yeah, I don't like the way that Vernon's treated in any of the books. I don't think it accurately reflects him at all. Here, what I think is happening with these cards is I don't think these cards were ever given out as outside of this plastic. But because then how would you ensure that the hair would be maintained? I mean, I think it's stuck on there with some kind of special adhesive thing over the top of it. And I think they were all sold out of this GAI group over a period of years. I mean, there's 5,000 of them, so how fast could you let go of them? I don't think they're a big seller, but I don't know. I don't really have any idea. Maybe they were really sent to this grading corporation to be graded as a collector's card. There's not any actual information I can find about the publication of this card. Just these guys that are authenticating it, and the ones who authenticate it are always the same group. It's always GA. There are no examples of this card not in this sleeve and not marked GA that I can find at the moment. Now, have I done a completely exhaustive search? Well, I'm sure I haven't. But I have done more than I think anybody else on the internet right now, at least that's showing it on YouTube. And Elizabeth says she doesn't like the way Vernon is portrayed either. And Tori says there's a lot of trash books about Elvis and a few from his former wife. That's right. And Deborah says Elvis's family loved him. He loved them greatly just because they are mentioned. They aren't mentioned much in the books. Vernon was a very good person. Right? Why would they be mentioned in the books? The books are about Elvis. They're not about the people around Elvis. They're at most about the person who wrote the book and their experiences around Elvis, which might include some of these other people, but it's focused on Elvis. And Tori said Vernon did say a few very hurtful things to Elvis, though. Absolutely, they said some hurtful things to each other. They were family. And these were two strong men, and sometimes they clashed. They clashed with Vester, too. They clashed with others in the family. So, yes, they absolutely clashed from time to time. And they had a very difficult time apologizing to each other. And here is another one of these hairs, 3844. 2004 Forever Treasures, Elvis Presley. This one's a perfect 10 as well. A lot of these perfect 10s in this batch. Now, there is something written that the other channel does draw attention to, and I don't want to pass it up because it's important, and we're going to get there. But it's along the side of the picture here. And it's very difficult to see, so I've cut it out so we can see it better, and we'll see it in a moment. And Pat says it's all about the money and how much they could make off of Elvis. And Deborah says that family do hurt each other at times, but the love remained. And Tori says he blamed Elvis for the death of Gladys. I can see how he might have done that. And I believe that the time they were in Germany, that Vernon was lost. He was lost in his own pain and his suffering, and he was trying to find his way through. And so was Elvis. And here's number 3883. So there probably are 5,000 of these out there. I'm sure some no longer exist, but they're still being traded around on the market. 3892. 4326. Notice it's a 10. Let's go back one. That one was a 10 too. This is why I think they were all sold in the plastic. They're all 10s. How many cards could get sent in and every single one of them be a 10? I mean, that's amazing. Or these guys are terrible at grading. And Gunn says that Vernon found a new wife quickly. I think that was part of Vernon's emotional issue. But yes, he did. And Tori agrees that it all comes down to the dollars. And Deborah says they were both dealing with heavy grief of a wife and a mother. That's absolutely right. Here's another perfect 10, 4326. Now, it's strange that this one says 2004 Forever Treasures at the top. and it's 4326. I almost feel like they sold them backwards in the numbers, but I don't know. Or they just, it's bizarre, right? It's bizarre. Here's 3 of them together. 0059, 0055, and 1977. Now that's an awful special one. 1977. And it's the one that's marked 2006. But all 3 of them have the same silver top instead of white exactly. See, it's so odd. And these you can't see, there's no grade on at all. But they're still from this GA company. Well, look here. We have other hair that's packaged in different ways. And the hair on this one is at the top where it says Elvis Presley Authentic Memorabilia. And it says hair, and the hair is right over top of it. And then you get this nifty trading card. So the trading card doesn't actually have the hair on it on this one. It's on a separate little piece. And it's got a little letter explaining that this hair comes from the collection of Homer Gilliland. And I'm not sure I'm pronouncing Homer's name right, but he was Elvis's barber or hairstylist. Let's hear from Homer himself. This is in a letter that he wrote with some other hair that he sold. It said, "My name is Homer M. Gilliland. For over 20 years preceding his death, I was the personal hairdresser for Elvis Aaron Presley. I also did Elvis's mother's hair and Elvis's father, Vernon, too." So this man, he cut the hair for the whole family. And that's how I'm tracing this back to 1956, because that's when Homer's cutting the Presley's hair. He actually goes to Graceland and cuts their hair. So they pick up Graceland later on in 57, but in 56, Elvis is starting to hit it big, and this is a local Memphis barber that he's going to. And Homer also says, "During my employment as Elvis's friend and hairdresser, he gave me numerous gifts of clothing and personal property owned and used by himself." And Homer signed and wrote this on April 10th, 1991. Now, that didn't go with this particular piece, but that's where most of this hair comes from. It was sold at auction from Homer in various batches. And then people took those batches and they did things like this. So the hair is Elvis's in the sense that it came from Homer. Now, is it really Elvis's hair? Homer says it is. Homer is a direct link back to Elvis, and Homer did have access to Elvis's cut hair. The general consensus in the collecting community is that if you link the hair back to Homer, then it's real. This is the back of this particular card. It says, "Talk to fans who went to a lot of Elvis concerts, and they'll say that you never really heard Elvis unless you heard him live." Of course, that doesn't have anything to do with the hair. It's just a card that they're sticking into this lucite case, and it resembles the other one because they've done that. Just another way to catch your eye and sell you a souvenir, but one that may have really been Elvis's. And Deborah says Homer wasn't much of a friend if he was doing this, and that we don't know if it's true. Well, we don't know if the hair is actually Elvis, but we do know that Homer sold it. And we do know that Homer truly did have this connection to Elvis. And Gunn says, "I thought it was a little crazy when they sold the roof in little pieces from his caddy, but hair, this is crazy. Crazy but true." And see, the reason it's being linked to Donna is that you're having this reaction about how crazy it is. But this has been going on since 1977. Nothing crazy about this. Homer has been known since 1977 to be selling this kind of stuff. Now, Homer's long gone, but the hair continues to be sold, and it just will continue to be repackaged probably as long as we're alive. Now, here's that piece that's next to the picture that was sideways. We couldn't really read and was small. This is how it's being linked to Donna. It says officially licensed by Donna Presley. And that's what's brought out in the video that talks about this on the other channel. So what does that mean, that it's officially licensed by Donna Presley? Well, let's go back so we understand where this is. So look at Elvis's picture in the middle of this picture, or in the middle of this card. There is a line of text that runs sideways next to it. That is the line of text that I have blown up and we're looking at. It runs next to the picture. It is sideways so that you don't read it as part of the card. Now, what's being said is that because the words are officially licensed by Donna Presley, it means that Donna Presley is licensing the hair, that she's claiming the hair is Elvis's hair, and that this is a product that she is endorsing. So let's think about that for a minute. What does it mean officially licensed by Donna Presley? And Gunn's saying, isn't it crazy to sell a dead man's hair if it happened? Well, the hair has really been sold. That really happened. Is it absolutely Elvis's hair? We have to believe Homer. If you believe Homer, it is. If you don't, then it's not. But the hair was sold. And this officially licensed from Donna Presley is about the picture. Let's go back again. You see this picture of Elvis, and he's wearing that cross, and he's in that jumpsuit. That's Donna's picture. She has copyright to it somehow. The licensing is about the copyright for the picture. Somebody approached Donna through her business entity, most likely, and said, hey, we would like to license a picture from you. We're going to do some trading cards. I'm not sure they even said anything about hair or that that would have been included in the agreement. However, that doesn't mean Donna actually knew anything about this. Her manager was Buddy Early, who was her husband. He was handling all of the management stuff. He was the Colonel Parker of the group. This kind of licensing deal probably ran through him. And then he would have collected money for this, which means Donna collected money for it, and they would have used that money for whatever living expenses they had, or whatever else they wanted to spend it on. It's their money. It's a legitimate way to make money. It is making money off a picture of Elvis, but again, I don't know that Donna herself agreed to this. But I don't know that it would be make a difference if she had. It's okay to license your pictures. It's okay to get paid for that. This is not a picture of Elvis that anyone would be ashamed of. What was not read on the other channel is the last half of this statement. It's not a single statement. You can't read half of it and say, oh, well, that's it. Officially licensed by Donna Presley. That means she's licensing the card and the hair. No, it's connected to the second statement. Image not endorsed by EPE. That means Elvis Presley Enterprises does not own this image. They don't have the copyright to it. They're not collecting any money from it, but they can't claim it as a trademark infringement because Donna actually owns the copyright to the picture, even though EPE owns the trademark for all of Elvis's likenesses. But this is sliding through a loophole. That's just one of the ways that people who knew Elvis were able to make more money from Elvis. But again, it doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Nothing in the picture is bad about Elvis. And it's not clear even if Buddy would have known they were going to connect this to hair. But even if he did, that's not necessarily bad either, because the hair came from Homer. So it's accepted in the Elvis collecting circles as real. And Gunn says that it's still crazy in her world. Well, it can still be crazy. I'm not saying it's not crazy. I'm just pointing out how this all happens and how it's more complex than what some people are making it. And it still doesn't make Donna in any way a bad person or a liar, which is what's being implied on the other channel. It's even being stated outright in some cases. And Deborah says that Donna's husband did a bunch of underhanded things that Donna had to go along with due to him being abusive. I mean, there's all that too, but that doesn't necessarily have to play into any of this. Now, the other channel also, they went into something that someone had written about Buddy Early collecting $4,000 from somebody, but as I've shown, if you were going to have enough books to make this profitable, or enough pieces of hair or whatever, you're talking up in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, 70 to 100,000 bare minimum, to get a decent number of copies of books to make any money off of. 4,000's a long cry from that. I'm not saying that that didn't happen. I'm just saying that it probably wasn't connected to books or hair. Now, here's a close-up of the hair, just so you understand how big a piece of hair you were getting. This is 1175 of 5,000. That's the piece of hair you got. Really not much you could do with that. Now, the other channel is trying to make fun of yet another Elvis channel, another Elvis creator, because that creator would like to find DNA of Elvis to try to prove whether somebody is or is not Elvis's child. All right, I'm not going to make a claim about whether that person is or isn't the child, or whether you should or shouldn't be trying to do that. But this other channel that put this thing about the hair out, they're making fun of that channel, saying they could get one of these pieces of hair and then it would have the DNA and you could find out. Well, that means they don't know much about how you get DNA from hair, because you wouldn't be able to get it from this piece. You have to get it from the hair root. I'm not sure if they know that or not, but root's not on this particular piece of hair. It's probably not on any of them, because you don't cut hair by pulling it out by the roots in most cases. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just being nitpicky there. And Ann is asking what other channel I'm referring to. I'm not going to name it. Some people refer to it as a kangaroo channel, but I'm not going to name the channel itself, because it wouldn't name me either. And that's okay. It's been a couple weeks since they put this out too. You know what? There's a back on these cards that were being sold. It's got more information. Let's read it. It says the accompanying Elvis Presley hair was acquired from the April 23rd, 2003 Maestro Net auction, lot 583, and was originally obtained from Homer Gilliland, who was Elvis Presley's personal hairstylist for over 20 years. The Elvis Presley hair was examined and authenticated. Now, the other channel brought that out too, that it was authenticated. So it's real hair. Now, how do you authenticate this hair? I have no idea. That's ridiculous too. The very thought that it is authenticated, that's not. It's just something to sell this card. I mean, come on. Like I've pointed out, you can't really get the DNA from the hair, nor would the guy who authenticated it he wouldn't have a piece of DNA to authenticate it to. But the guy who authenticated it considered this the most trusted authority in the field of hair collecting today. Or at least that's the guy that authenticated it, I guess. So, I mean, there's still all the collectible market questions about this. But you can see the name of the company at the bottom, Global Authentication Incorporated. Now, you notice that the card is printed by the same people who are printing that it's a 10. That's a heck of a business model there. You print the card and then you put it in a piece of plastic and you grade it a 10. You've brought everything in-house. This is an amazing system. Fortunately, it didn't work because they went out of business in 2009. And this is another piece of hair that Homer sold. This card contains a lock of hair from the king of rock and roll, as cut by Mr. Gill of Memphis, Tennessee, memories of which in future years, they will always be. Elvis, 1935 to 1977, and there's a big old hunk of Elvis's hair, according to Homer Galland, and it looks like he's scotch taped it right to that card. So this was before the bigger business came in and figured out how to, maximize profits with the plastic coat, the plastic cases and the very small pieces. You get a lot more bang for your buck on this one. And Ann is asking if this could be from his first military haircut. No, it could not, because that was a different barber, and that barber collected and destroyed all the hair because it belonged to the U.S. government. And yes, there was a rush to collect it. People were trying to get up there to get it. There's Homer himself. At least this is the only picture I can find that's attributed to Homer. Everybody seems to think it's Homer, but I don't think anybody really knows. But somebody's cutting Elvis's hair in this picture, and it's not Larry Geller. And it's not Patty Perry. So I'm guessing it's Homer Gilliland. And Tori says that hair looked jet black. It did. Of course, he did dye his hair jet black from time to time, so we don't know when exactly it was from. This is a crucifix that Elvis gave to Homer. So Homer's not just somebody that Elvis knows. Elvis took Homer on tour. He took him to California. Homer went around with Elvis to a few places. Homer was in Graceland. Homer, he touched the head of Elvis and his parents. And he continued to cut Elvis's hair even after he came back from the army. Homer would have been available when other people weren't around. And he was based out of Memphis. Elvis gave him this incredible crucifix. I mean, look at that hunk of gold. This is a 14 karat gold piece. And look at the thickness of that chain. Homer didn't buy that chain to put this pendant on. Homer, there's no way he could have afforded that chain. Look at it. It's a giant rope. And Tori says that in the army, the hair was his natural color. So because it was black, it couldn't have been that. That's true too. Good eye. Good eye. And there are photos of them together. Are you talking about Homer? That was the only one I could find. So if you know of any others, let me know where they're at. I'll go find them. And this is a jar of Elvis's hair that Homer Gilliland and I think it's Tom Morgan sold. Tom Morgan is another name. That he's a guy that knew Elvis and he knew Homer, and Tom was real big into the auction market and collecting stuff. And they sold this piece with this jar with this hair. And City of Angels Girl is saying that Elvis's hair was naturally blonde. Hi, City of Angels Girl. I think you just came in, right? So just saying hi. If I already said hi to you, gotten confused during the program. If anybody else is here that I missed, I try to say hi to everybody. So if I missed you, sing out in the comments again. Just means you rolled up past the screen and I can't see you anymore. Now, here's a newspaper article, and it says a hunk of Elvis's hair fetches $115,000, and you can see a picture of that jar. It says the jar containing a mass of hair purported to be Elvis Presley's was sold by an Oak Brook company after a 20-day auction. And it says, seller says barber gathered strands. An unidentified collector of Elvis Presley memorabilia agreed early Saturday to pay $115,000 for a small jar filled with what is purported to be the late singer's hair collected by his barber. I mean, $115,000. That's a lot of money for a jar. They got to believe it's real. The winning bid is proof, observers say, of the growing, if macabre, popularity of hair collecting, and that Elvis Presley is still the king. Brian Marrin, vice president of acquisitions for this company that sold it, says, I kind of think it had a chance for 6 figures. Well, he was right. And then it says they have not released the winning bidder's name, citing confidentiality agreements, but that the person was a big Elvis collector and that there were many other bids, basically. I think there must have been to get to 115,000. The hairball had been up for sale for 20 days since October 28th, and was purportedly saved by Homer Gilliland. Although I don't think Homer was alive at the point that they sold this, so there's no real documentation that seems to have gone with this. Friends of the barber said that Homer bundled up the towels with the hair inside and took them home. He then put the hair in a plastic bread bag where it stayed until Presley died in 1977. A plastic bread bag. That's really interesting, because if you lived in the 70s, man, we put everything in those bread bags. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. And Gunn says, if I asked Elvis if I could buy a bit of his hair, he surely would have said no, I believe. That's why I would not buy any. Yeah, I mean, if you said, Elvis, did you know Homer took your hair home in a towel and saved it in a bread bag and he wants to sell me some? Is it okay if I get some? I think you're probably right. He might have said, well, I didn't know Homer was doing that. Because I don't think Homer ever sold any of the hair before Elvis died. And Homer, he must have had a long-term plan. Because he couldn't have known Elvis was going to pass away in 1977. But shortly after Elvis died, this says Gilliland began selling strands of the hair in a souvenir shop across the street from Presley's Memphis home. So this has been going on across the street from Graceland. This doesn't have anything to do with Donna. Now they're saying Donna gave this away, that it was stuck in one of her books. But as you can see, those plastic cases would have made it really thick to put into a book. And yeah, you could have stuck one into one book, but if you'd had a stack of books you tried to put that into, the stack wouldn't have, like, stayed upright. It would have all slid off of each other, because those are really thick. You don't place those in the middle of a book. They're not a bookmark. And you certainly would know if you were purchasing it along with the book. You didn't accidentally buy the book and then get this extra piece. I mean, that would have defied the purpose of giving you the free piece, right? And then they're saying that Donna was selling it because her name was on it. Well, no, she licensed it, the picture. So she wasn't selling anything. She licensed the picture and was paid for the licensing. And this also says that they did not conduct such a test because they have no Presley DNA for comparison. So that tells us that the experts who looked at it, what were they verifying that is so proudly stated on the back of the card? Well, nothing. Yeah, it's a piece of hair and it's stuck to a card. And Linda says that selling hair is better than writing nasty books and selling them. Well, I guess at least Homer's got that going for him, huh? If Red and Sonny and Dave had stuck to selling pieces of Elvis's hair or clothing, maybe that wouldn't have been so bad, right? I don't know. It does seem like it's better in some way when you say it like that. I hadn't really thought of it like that. Oh, here's something else that Homer got. This was keys to one of Elvis Presley's cars. I'm not really sure how this occurred. I kind of think maybe the car got sold or given away and they still had these extra keys sitting around at some point and they just gave them to Homer. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. How would Homer get this? There was a service date on this card of May 31st, 1972. And it was some kind of model car or light truck from Ford, from Schilling Motors Incorporated. I've always wondered if that Schilling had some connection to Jerry, but I don't know. If you know, let me know. I don't think that it does, but maybe that's Jerry's brother or something. And then Donna, in this book that she no longer, seems to like, but it has a lot of beautiful pieces in it. And she has this quote, and it says, "We all have weaknesses within us. It's just how we choose to deal with them that makes us who we are." I thought that was a beautiful quote. We all have weaknesses within us. And that's very gracious of Donna, that she recognizes that everybody has their weak points and that she's not attacking any of them. She's pointing out that we're all together in that. And that what separates us is how we choose to deal with our weaknesses. And that choosing, that determines who we are. Now, if we were looking at this through the lens of Joseph Benner, which is one of Elvis's favorite authors of the impersonal life, you could say that Donna is recognizing in this quote that weakness is a fog to the I am, the Jesus who lives in your heart, that it narrows the conduit of the light that you can receive if it doesn't push you directly out of alignment. But that you can choose to deal with it in a way that reopens the conduit and maintains your alignment, and that's your posture in staying aligned and understanding that the weakness, well, it's a fog that you can push aside if you so choose, and that you can get help with that if you ask for it. And that's what determines who you are. Are you aligned or are you misaligned? And Gunn says it's awful how they attack Donna. Yeah, they found her name next to that thing on the card, and they come at it from every angle, while at the same time admitting that the hair, as far as anyone knows, is legitimate. Now, whether it's in good taste to purchase the hair or not, that's different. But no one, other than one story about it being slipped into a book, can seem to come up with when Donna sold these pieces. And I haven't even seen that 2003 story, to be honest. It just keeps getting referenced. So that really does bring to an end everything I'm going to say about this book at this time, because that's as much as I know about it at this time. I don't know what Donna doesn't like about it, and I don't know what they're attacking her about specifically in the book. And I don't know that they found anybody who's actually received one of these cards with the hair from Donna. Since she wasn't selling them, the company that printed them was. And Elizabeth says that's definitely a good comment to say, and I would definitely admit that in my case it's especially true. And then Linda's saying, is that Matt? Yeah, I'm up in the corner. I'm hidden by the pictures. Hello, everybody. And Jen says that it is. Yep, it's me up in the corner. Kind of a new thing I've been doing on some of the broadcasts. But that brings us to an end of this broadcast, because we've reached the end of another hour. And I was going to get into 1956 and Elvis's Harley Davidson motorcycle, but it looks like that's going to wait for another episode. We do get to see the contract that Elvis signed for his Harley Davidson in January of 1956. So that's coming up. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today and spending your time with me. And I appreciate all of your interaction in the chat and the comments. Be sure that you've hit the like button and that you're subscribed so that you get to see that contract about the Harley Davidson. That's big for Elvis, right? Like a Harley Davidson, and he's going to own it, and he's going to get to ride around. Hi, Luann. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. And with that, I'm going to send you all out with a song. This is Truth That Sounds Like Lies, because that's what we've been dealing with all hour. And you all keep on taking care of business.
No whisper in the family halls, no doctor's word, no shadow calls. We searched the papers after he was gone. No cancer written, no sickness drawn. Yet silence breaks in fractured skies. Truth that sounds like lies. Charlie spoke with kindness deep, repeating words he thought to keep, protecting Elvis, guarding flame, or echoing voices without a name. A loyal friend, a gentle guide, truth that sounds like lies. Three voices sing in broken time, each one honest, each one blind. The story bends, the rumor flies. Truth that sounds like lies, fracture born of love's disguise. Truth that sounds like lies.
At Graceland's door, the doctor came. Vernon ill, his body lame. A secret spoken, hushed and great. Bone cancer spread beyond the grave. I carried words with tearful eyes. Truth that sounds like lies.
Cells that look like death's disguise. Stained and studied, no disease inside. Not cancers marked but nature in. Her body a breaking, nothing to mend. Science clears but rumor cries. Truth that sounds like lies. Each heart believed what it was told. Each hand held fragments, shards of gold. But when the pieces fail to bind, the world calls false what's true inside. Three voices sing in broken time, each one honest, each one blind. The story bends, the rumor flies, truth that sounds like lies, fracture born of love's disguise, truth that sounds like lies. In the silence of the king's last song, truth and rumor both belong. A sacred ache beneath the skies, truth that sounds like lies.
Midnight lights, rhinestone fire, Arabian suit, burning with desire. He hit the stage like thunder rolls, Vegas shook and the story unfolds. Charlie's birthday, crowd went wild. He cracked a joke and sang with style. But just before he sang Hurt So Deep, he stopped the show and made us weep. He gave away his heart, not just a song, diamonds and gold, where the love belongs, rings and shades from the man backstage. He healed the broken, he lit the flame. Oh, he gave away his heart, and I saw it all that night. Black in hair, the man stepped near. Elvis smiled, the crowd could hear. Thanks to you, we raised the light. 17,000 hearts took flight. Then back behind the velvet door, he gave away a little more. Music ring, a boxcar shine, a suit that held his sacred time. He gave away his heart, not just a song, diamonds and gold, where the love belongs, rings and shapes from the man backstage. He healed the broken, he lit the flame. Oh, he gave away his heart, and I saw it all that night. He didn't need applause to know his worth. He gave away his soul in Vegas mirth. Not just a king, but something more. A man who knew what hearts were for. Gave away his heart, not just a soul. Pieces of love where the brave belong. Ritual gifts from the man backstage. He saved the hurting, he the flame. Oh, he gave away his heart, and I'll never be the same. I was there, I saw the rings, I saw the light. Gave away his heart, and it burned so bright.